in Genesis. We are in Genesis chapter 25 through 30. Also, for those who are not aware, I am reading out of the Interlinear Bible. This is, of course, the Old Testament, and this is the Hebrew and Aramaic translation. Genesis 25. And Abraham added and took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bore to him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shuah. And Jokshan fathered Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Asherim, and Lesharim, or Letishim, and Luamim, and sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanak, and Abida, and Eldiah, or Elday, and these were the sons of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that was his to Isaac, and to the sons of the concubines who were to Abraham, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away eastward from his son Isaac, while still alive to an eastern land. And these are the days of the years of the life of Abraham, which he lived 175 years. And Abraham expired and died in a good old age, aged and satisfied, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him at the cave of Machpelah, at the field of Ephron the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre, the field which Abraham bought from the sons of Heth. Abraham and his wife Sarah were buried there. And it happened after the death of Abraham, God blessed his son Isaac. And Isaac lived by the well of the living one, my beholder. And these are the generations of Ishmael, the son of Abraham, whom Hagar, the Egyptian, the slave girl of Sarah, bore to Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael was Nebajoth, or Nebajoth, then Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duman, and Mesa, Hadad, and Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. These were the sons of Ishmael, and these their names in their settlements and in their camps, 12 chiefs according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he expired and died and was gathered to his people. And they lived from Havilah to Shur, which is facing Egypt as you come toward Assyria. He settled facing all his brothers. And these are the generations of Isaac, the son of Abraham. Abraham fathered Isaac, and Isaac was a son of 40 years when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean, from Padan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Aramean, to him for a wife. And Isaac prayed to Jehovah for his wife, for she was barren. And Jehovah was entreated for him, and his wife Rebekah conceived. And the sons struggled together within her. And she said, If this is right, why am I this way? And she went to ask Jehovah. And Jehovah said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, yea, 2 peoples shall break from your body, and one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And her days were fulfilled to bear. And behold, twins were in her womb, and the first came out, all of him red like a hairy robe, and they called his name Esau. And afterward his brother came out, and his hand was holding to the heel of Esau, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was a son of 60 years when she bore them. And the boys grew up, and Esau became a man knowing hunting, a man of the field. And Jacob was a simple man, living in tents. And Isaac loved Esau, for game was in his mouth. And Rebekah loved Jacob, and Jacob boiled soup. And Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Please let me eat of this red soup, for I am faint. On account of this his name is called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me your birthright today. And Esau said, Behold, I am going to die, And what good is this, a birthright to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me today. And he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. And Jacob gave bread and soup of lentils to Esau. And he ate and drank and rose up and left. And Esau despised the birthright. Genesis chapter 26. And a famine was in the land besides the famine which was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Abimelech king of the Philistines to Gerar. And Jehovah appeared to him and said, Do not go down into Egypt. Stay in the land which I shall say to you. Stay in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and to your seed I will give all these lands. And I will cause to rise my oath, which I swore to your father Abraham. And I will increase your seed like the stars of the heavens. And I will give to your seed all these lands. And all the nations of the earth shall bless themselves in your seed, because Abraham listened to my voice and heeded my charge, my commands, my statutes, and my laws. And Isaac lived in Gerar, and the men of the place asked about his wife. And he said, She is my sister, for he was afraid to say, My wife, lest the men of the place kill me on account of Rebekah, for she was beautiful of form. And it happened when his days were many to him there, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked through the window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with his wife Rebekah. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, See, surely she is your wife. And how have you said, She is my sister? And Isaac said to him, Because I said, Lest I die on account of her. And Abimelech said, What is this you have done to us? One of the people had almost lain with your wife, and you would have caused to come on us guilt. And Abimelech commanded all the people, saying, Anyone touching this man and his wife shall surely be put to death. And Isaac sowed in that land, and 100-fold was found in that year. And Jehovah blessed him. And the man grew great, and he went on going on to be great, until he became very great. And to him were possessions of flocks and possessions of herds, and many slaves. And the Philistines envied him. And all the wells which his father's slaves dug in the days of his father, Abraham the Philistines stopped them and filled them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Isaac, Go from us, for you are stronger than we. And Isaac went from there and camped in Gerar Valley, and he lived there. And again Isaac dug the wells of water, which they dug in the days of his father Abraham. And the Philistines stopped them after Abraham's death. And he called names to them like the names which his father had called them. And Isaac's slaves dug in the torrent bed, and they found there a well of living water. And the shepherds of Gerar contended with Isaac's shepherds, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Contention, for they contended with him. And they dug another well and also fought over it, and he called its name Opposition. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not fight over it, and he called its name Broad Places. And he said, For now Jehovah has broadened for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And he went from there to Beersheba. And Jehovah appeared to him in the same night and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you, and I will bless you and increase your seed, because of my servant Abraham. And he built an altar there and called on the name of Jehovah. And he pitched his tent there, and the slaves of Isaac dug a well there. And Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and his aide Ahuzath, and Phicol, the general of his army. And Isaac said to them, Why have you come to me, since you hate me, and sent me away from you? And they said, We have plainly seen that Jehovah has been with you. And we have said, Let there be an oath now between us and you, and let us cut a covenant with you, whether you will do with us evil, as we did not touch you, and as we did only good with you. And we sent you away in peace, you now being blessed of Jehovah. And he made a feast for them, and they ate and drank. And they started up early at dawn, and each swore to his brother. And Isaac sent them away, and they left him in peace. And it happened on that day Isaac's slaves came and told him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, We found the water. And he called it Sheba. So the name of the city is Beersheba until this day. And Esau was a son of 40 years, and he took a wife Judith, the daughter of Beri, the Hittite, also Basemath, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite. And they were a grief of spirit to Isaac and to Rebekah. Genesis chapter 27. And it happened when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim for seeing, he called his elder son Esau and said to him, My son. And he said to him, Behold me. And he said, See, now I am old. I do not know he or the day of my death. And now please lift up your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go to the field and hunt game for me. And make for me delicious things, such as I love, and bring to me, and I will eat, so that my soul may bless you before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spoke to his son Esau, and Esau went to the field to hunt game, to bring it in. And Rebekah spoke to her son Jacob, saying, Behold, I heard your father speaking to your brother Esau, saying, Bring game to me, and make delicious things, that I may eat, and may bless you before Jehovah, before I die. And now, my son, hear my voice, that which I command you. Go now to the flock, and bring me from there 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them into delicious things for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father, and let him eat, so that he may bless you before his death. And Jacob said to his mother Rebekah, Behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall be like a deceiver in his eyes, and I shall bring a curse on me, and not blessing. And his mother said to him, Your curse be on me, my son. Only listen to my voice, and go take for me. And he went, and he took, and he came to his mother. And his mother made delicious things, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took the clothing of her elder son Esau, the costly ones, which were with her in the house, and she dressed her younger son Jacob. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats on his hands, and on the smoothness of his neck. And she put the delicious things and the bread which she had made in the hand of her son Jacob. And he went in to his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am. Who are you, my son? And Jacob said to his father, I am your firstborn, Esau. I have done as you said to me. Rise up now, sit and eat of my game, so that your soul may bless me. And Isaac said to his son, How then have you quickly found it, my son? And he said, Because Jehovah your God made it come to me. And Isaac said to Jacob, Come near now, and let me feel you, whether then you are my son Esau or not. And Jacob came near to his father Isaac, and he felt him. And he said, The voice is Jacob's voice, and the hands are Esau's hands. And he did not know him, because his hands were like the hairy hands of his brother Esau. And he blessed him. And he said, Are you then my son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring to me, and let me eat of my son's game, so that my soul may bless you. And he came near to him, and he took, and he ate. And he took wine to him, and he drank. And his father Isaac said to him, Now come and kiss me, my son. And he came and kissed him. And he smelled the odor of his clothes. And he blessed him, and he said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Jehovah blessed. And may God give you the dew of the heavens, and of the fatness of the earth, and much grain and wine. May the nations serve you, and peoples bow to you. Be a ruler to your brothers, and may the sons of your mother bow to you. And cursed be those who curse you, and blessed be those who bless you. And it happened when Isaac made an end blessing Jacob, then it was, hardly had Jacob left from before his father Isaac, even his brother Esau came in from his hunting. And he also made delicious things, and took to his father. And he said to his father, Let my father arise, and eat from the game of his son, so that your soul may bless me. And his father Isaac said to him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. And Isaac was terrified with a very great terror. And he said, Who then was the one who hunted game and came to me, and I ate from all before you came, and I blessed him? Yea, he shall be blessed. When Esau heard his father's words, he cried out a great, very bitter cry. And he said to his father, Bless me also, my father. And he said, Your brother came with deceit and took your blessing. And he said, It is because his name is called Jacob. And this twice he took me by the heel. He took my birthright. And behold, now he has taken my blessing. And he said, Have you not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said to Esau, Behold, I have set him over you as a ruler, and I have given him all his brothers for servants. I have girded him with grain and wine. And what then can I do for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, Is one blessing left to you, my father? Bless me also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And his father Isaac answered and said to him, Behold, your abode shall be from the fat of the earth and from the dew of the heavens above. And you shall live by your sword, and you shall serve your brother. And when it shall be that you fight, you shall break his yoke from your neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. And the words of her older son Esau were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called her younger son Jacob. And she said to him, See, your brother Esau is going to ease himself on you to kill you. And now, my son, listen to my voice, and rise, flee for yourself to my brother Laban, to Haran, and stay with him some days until your brother's fury turns away, until your brother's anger turns back from you, and he forgets what you have done to him. And I will send you and take you from there. Why should I also be bereaved of two of you in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life before the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife from the daughters of Heth, like these from the daughters of the land, what is my life to me? Genesis chapter 28. And Isaac called Jacob, and he blessed him and commanded him, and said to him, You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Rise up and go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take a wife for yourself from there, from the daughters of Laban, the brother of your mother. And may God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful, and add to you, and may you become an assembly of nations. And may he give to you the blessing of Abraham, to you and to your seed with you, for you to possess the land of your travels, which God gave to Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padam Aram to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Aramean, brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. And Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob, and had sent him away to Padan Aram to take a wife for himself from there. In his blessing he had commanded him, saying, You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and went to Padan Aram. And when Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan were evil in the eyes of his father Isaac, then Esau went to Ishmael, and took Maheleth, the daughter of Ishmael, the son of Abraham, Nebajoth's sister. To his wives he added her for his wife. And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he came on a place and stayed the night there, for the sun had gone. And he took stones of the place and placed them at his head, and he lay down in that place. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder was placed on the earth, its top reaching to the heavens. And behold, the angels of God were going up and going down on it. And behold, Jehovah stood above it, and said, I am Jehovah, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you are lying, I will give it to you and to your seed, and your seed shall be as the dust of the earth. And you shall spread to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And all the families of the earth shall be blessed in you and in your seed. And behold, I will be with you, and will guard you in every place in which you may go, and will bring you back to this land. For I will not forsake you until I have surely done that which I have spoken to you. And Jacob awakened from his sleep, and said, Surely Jehovah is in this place, and I did not know. And he was afraid, and said, How fearful is this place! This is nothing except the house of God, and this is the door to heaven. And Jacob started up early in the morning, and took the stone which he had placed at his head, and he placed it as a memorial pillar. And he poured oil on the top of it, and he called the name of that place the house of God. And yet the name of the city was at first Luz. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If God is with me, and keeps me in this way, which I am going, and gives to me bread to eat and clothing to wear, and I return in peace to the house of my father, then Jehovah shall be my God, and this stone which I have placed as a memorial pillar shall become the house of God, and all which you shall give to me, I will tithe the tenth to you. Genesis chapter 29. And Jacob lifted his feet and went to the land of the sons of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and behold, 3 flocks of sheep were lying by it. For from that well they watered the flocks, and the stone of the mouth of the well was great. And all the flocks were usually gathered there, and they rolled the stone off the mouth of the well, and watered the sheep, and replaced the stone on the mouth of the well to its place. And Jacob said to them, My brothers, from where are you? And they said, We are from Haran. And he said to them, Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said to them, Is he well? And they said, Well. And behold, his daughter Rachel is coming with the sheep. And he said, See, the day is still high. It is not time to gather the livestock. Water the sheep and go feed them. And they said, We are not able until all the flocks are gathered, and they roll the stone from the mouth of the well. Then we water the sheep. He still was speaking with them, and Rachel came with the sheep which were her father's, for she was a shepherdess. And it happened when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, brother to his mother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, Jacob came near and rolled the stone from the mouth of the well, and watered the sheep of Laban, the brother of his mother. And Jacob kissed Rachel, and lifted up his voice, and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was the son of Rebekah. And she ran and told her father. And when Laban heard the report of Jacob, his sister's son, he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him. And he took him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Truly you are my bone and my flesh. And he lived with him a month of days. And Laban said to Jacob, Are you not my brother? And should you serve me for nothing? Tell me, what shall be your wages? And Laban had 2 daughters, the name of the older Leah, and the name of the younger Rachel. And the eyes of Leah were weak, and Rachel was beautiful of form, and beautiful of appearance. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better for me to give her to you than to give her to another man. Live with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they were in his eyes like a few days, in that he loved her. And Jacob said to Laban, Give my wife, for my days are fulfilled, and let me go into her. And Laban gathered all the men of the place, and made a feast. And it happened in the evening, he took his daughter Leah, and brought her to him, and he went in to her. And Laban gave to her Zilpah, his slave girl, to his daughter Leah as a slave. And it happened in the morning, behold, she was Leah. And he said to Laban, What have you done to me? Did I not serve with you for Rachel? And why have you tricked me? And Laban said, It is not done this way in our place, to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill the week of this one, and we will also give you this other one, for the service which you will serve with me, yet another 7 years. And Jacob did so, and he fulfilled the week of this one, and he gave to him his daughter Rachel to him for a wife. And Laban gave his slave girl Bilhah to his daughter Rachel, to her for a slave girl. And he also went in to Rachel, and he also loved Rachel more than Leah. And he served with him yet another 7 years. And Jehovah saw that Leah was hated, and he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived, and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, Surely Jehovah has looked on my affliction, for now my husband will love me. And she conceived again, and bore a son, and said, Surely Jehovah has heard that I am hated, and has given this one to me also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again, and bore a son. And she said, Now this time my husband will be joined to me, because I have borne to him 3 sons. So his name was called Levi. And she conceived again, and bore a son. And she said, This time I praise Jehovah. So she called his name Judah. And she ceased from bearing. Genesis chapter 30. And Rachel saw that she did not bear to Jacob, and Rachel was jealous of her sister. And she said to Jacob, Give me sons, and if there is none, I shall die. And Jacob's anger glowed against Rachel, and he said, Am I in God's place, who has kept back from you the fruit of the womb? And she said, Behold, my servant Bilhah. Go into her, and let her bear on my knees. Yea, let me be built up from her, me also. And she gave her slave girl Bilhah to him for a wife. And Jacob went into her, and Bilhah conceived, and bore a son to Jacob. And Rachel said, God has judged, and has also heard my voice, and has given me a son. So she called his name Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's slave girl, conceived again, and bore a second son to Jacob. And Rachel said, With struggles of God I have struggled with my sister, yea, I have been able. And she called his name Naphtali. And Leah saw that she had ceased from bearing, and she took Zilpah, her slave girl, and gave to Jacob for a wife. And Leah's slave girl Zilpah bore a son to Jacob. And Leah said, With fortune. And she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's slave girl, bore a second son to Jacob. And Leah said, In my happiness, for the daughters shall call me happy. And she called his name Asher. And in the days of wheat harvest, Reuben went out and found love apples in the field. And he brought them to his mother Leah. And Rachel said to Leah, Please give to me from the love apples of your son. And she said to her, Is your taking my husband a little thing? Will you also take my son's love apples? And Rachel said, So he shall be with you tonight, for your son's love apples. And Jacob came in from the field at evening, and Leah went out to meet him. And she said, You must come in to me, for surely I have hired you with my son's love apples. And he laid with her during that night. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore a fifth son to Jacob. And Leah said, God has given my hire. I give my slave girl to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again, and bore a sixth son to Jacob. And Leah said, God has given me a good present. This time my husband will live with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And afterwards she bore a daughter, and called her name Daniah. And God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her, and opened her womb. And she conceived and bore a son. And she said, God has taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, saying, May Jehovah add to me another son. And when Rachel had borne Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, Send me away, so I may go to my own place and to my land. Give my wives and my children, for whom I have served you, and let me go. For you know my service with which I have served you. And Laban said to him, If I have found favor in your eyes, stay. I have seen omens. Also Jehovah has blessed me because of you. And he said, Set your wages on me, and I will give. And he said to him, You know how I have served you, and what has come to be, your livestock being with me. For little was yours before my mouth, and it has spread out into a host. and Jehovah has blessed you at my foot. And now, when shall I work for my house? I also. And he said, What shall I give you? And Jacob said, You shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will remain. I will feed your flock and keep it. I will pass among all your flock today, taking from there every speckled and spotted sheep, and every black sheep among the lambs, also the spotted and speckled goats. These shall be my wages, and my righteousness shall testify for me in the day to come. When you come in about my wages before your face, every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and black among the lambs, it is stolen with me. And Laban said, Yes, truly, let it be as you speak. And he turned out in that day all the striped and spotted lambs, and all the speckled and spotted goats, every one which had white, and every black one among the lambs. And he gave them into the hands of his sons. And he put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob. And Jacob was feeding the remaining flocks of Laban. And Jacob took for himself white rods of a fresh tree, and the almond and plane tree. And he peeled white stripes in them, laying bare the white on the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled by the troughs, by the water troughs where the flocks came to drink, across from the flocks. And they were in heat when they came to drink. And the flocks bore striped, speckled, and spotted offspring. And Jacob separated the lambs, and he set the faces of the flock toward the striped, and every black one in the flocks of Laban. And he put his own droves by themselves, and did not put them with the flock of Laban. And it happened that whenever the strong flocks conceived, Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the flocks, before the troughs, that they might conceive by the rods. And he did not set them before the weak flocks. And it came to be, the weak for Laban, and the strong for Jacob. And the man increased very much, and were many flocks to him, and slave girls, and male slaves, and camels, and asses.